So, you want to be a writer. If it doesn't come bursting out of you, in spite of everything, don't do it. Unless being still would drive you to madness or suicide or murder, don't do it. If you have to wait for it to roar out of you, then wait, patiently. When it is truly time, if you have been chosen, it will do it by itself. It comes out of your soul like a rocket, and then it will keep on doing it until you die, or it dies in you. There is no other way, and there never was.
What's up, guys? If you've been following my channel, you know that I just shot a feature film and I'm going to release a film series talking about the whole process of making that film. It's probably going to be about a 30 episode film series, and I'm going to go everything from the writing of the script all the way to the film festival. Okay, so I'm going to try to go in order the best I can. Today is the first episode and I'm going to talk about writing. Now, at the top of this video, you probably saw this kind of dramatic whole opening and everything from Charles Bukowski. It was kind of a cut down of his poem that he wrote. A little side note, I actually listened to Charles Bukowski's Roll the Dice poem every day before I would go out and I would film. I would listen to it every day in the morning right before I did it, because I would find myself in these situations where it's like, what the hell am I doing out here? And so I would listen to that to motivate myself. So I kind of felt it fit to start out this video like this. Alright, so why the first series being on writing? Well, without a good screenplay, there's no point in making a film whatsoever. So make sure you have a solid script, okay? If you're gonna make a film, screenplay is everything, okay? If you're gonna make a film, screenplay is everything. So make sure you have a solid script, alright? So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to help you guys get there by giving you 10 rules, 10 steps, 10 bits of information that will help you get a screenplay where you need it to be to make your first feature film. All right, so let's just get right into it. Rule number 1, don't force it. Just like at the top of this video was telling you, if it doesn't just come to you naturally, don't do it. Okay, don't do that story. Okay, the story should just come to you naturally. If you're forcing it, if you're trying really hard to make it come together to write a story or anything, it's just not going to work. It's going to be a waste of time. I've done that several times, and over time I just realized the best ideas I ever had just came to me out of nowhere, and then next thing you know, you have to jump on it right after that and just sit down and just write. Okay, write out an outline of your story, and later on you can fill in the actual details and everything, but just write down everything that you have in that creative moment when the idea comes to you. That's what you need to do. Step number 1. Get that idea, have that moment, and then make it happen. All right, number 2. This is more of like just like a reference, but whatever idea you have, you don't have to be able to relate to it. That's a big myth. I can't stand it when people are like, how do you relate to this story? Or why was this story personally connected to you, and this, that, and the other. That's good if it is personally connected to you. That's all great. The problem with that is, if it's connected to you, then you're probably limited on the amount of stories you can tell. Okay, you don't want to be a one-trick pony. Write stories that have nothing to do with you whatsoever. I've written tons of stories that have nothing to do with me. The best stories always come from a different perspective sometimes, so keep all that in mind. So if the film or the idea is not connected to you, that's okay. In my case, my film is about a fugitive hiding in the woods, and he meets this kid, and the kid's building a fort, and he ends up hanging out in the fort. I mean, did I build forts as a kid? Yes, I did. So obviously parts of me are in the story, but did I ever meet a fugitive and have ever been one? No, of course not. That's stupid. Step number 3, learn how to write a screenplay. You have your idea, you have your outline, that's all good. Now you got to actually write a screenplay in the correct format. And the only way to really do that is to learn how to write a screenplay properly. And the way I did that was I bought a book and I just taught myself. The book I bought was called Fade In. I probably don't write screenplays perfectly to a T. I probably don't write them in a way that I can sell them to Hollywood. This is not for someone who wants to sell a script to Hollywood. This is for someone who wants to write a script and then direct that film themselves, okay? If you want to give it off to someone else, you're welcome to do that, but in my opinion, you're giving the opportunity of someone else to go fuck up something that you spent a lot of time working on, a story that you wrote. So try considering directing it yourself, because that's what this film series is about. Step number 4, you actually have to type up your screenplay, okay? To type your screenplay, you're going to need a particular software, Screenplay software. There's a lot of different softwares out there. Some of them are even free, but the one that I use, you have to pay for. I forget what it costs. Maybe I can link it or throw it on the screen. Anyways, it is called Final Draft. I've been using it for over 10 years. This is not a sponsored video or anything. I put the script on an iPad. It makes typing of screenplays so easy. It's better than a laptop. It's better than a typewriter. I've done both. It's better than writing it by hand. So I highly recommend getting some software for your iPad or a tablet of any sort, and then typing up your screenplay that way. I could go through all the details of how great Final Draft is in particular, but again, this ain't sponsored, so why the fuck would I do that? Rule number 5, an 80 to 90 page script. So if you don't already know, a general rule is a page a minute. Every page in your script equals a minute of camera time, film time, whatever. So what you want to do is write a script that's only 80 to 90 pages, okay? As long as your film is an hour and 20 minutes, it's considered a feature film, okay? So my film was 93 minutes and I cut it down to 80 pages. I cut it down because I wanted it as lean as possible, and I felt like those additional 13 pages or whatever were just not helping the story in any way. A big mistake a lot of people make is they make a film and they make their cut and everything, and it turns out to be like 2.5 hours or something ridiculous, and it's like nobody wants to watch that fucking movie, trust me. All right, make a nice, tight, lean film. It's less work for you. It's less money costing in the long run. Everything, okay? Make a 80 to 90 page film. Trust me. If you can't tell your story in 80 to 90 pages, then you need to tell a different story, or you need to get better at telling stories. Rule number 6. You should write 3 pages a day for 30 days. Now, you might say to yourself, I don't want to write 90 pages. That's a lot of pages. That's going to take me forever, whatever. You could write a lot less. I know people have made feature films that are only like 30 pages long. They're boring as shit and they suck, but that's a whole other story. The point being is that it's actually not that difficult. If you just write 3 pages a day for 30 days, you'll hit 90 pages. And that's exactly what I did. Every time I wrote a scene, I would just write those 3 pages, is about 3 minutes, and usually each scene would kind of fit in that area. So write on a general average of 3 pages a day, or a little bit less one day, a little bit more the next day, so on and so forth. But as long as you keep that average, within 1 month you could write a screenplay. I mean, literally, if you just did, let's say you did 6 screenplays a year, that technically you would only have to write 1.5 pages a day. I mean, you do the math, it's really not that difficult. Rule number 7, only have 3 main characters. Look, this is up to you, but if you ask me, this cuts down a lot of costs. 3 main characters means less people to feed, less different wardrobe changes, less different angles, less different, everything, props, everything. Okay, 3 main characters. All the other characters in your film should be extras, or, in there for maybe a half a day or 1 day at most. Those 3 main characters you could be filming all the time, but I mean, it just cuts down everything. So much work if you only have 3 main characters throughout the whole film. Rule number 8, 1 location for 90% of your film. Now, I know a lot of people probably hear this and they fucking hate that idea, but you have to think about it. Think about it from the perspective that it's less time to move all your equipment from one location to another, less breakdown, less setup. You can even leave your equipment at the location if it's a secured location, leave the set, show back up, and just have all your equipment ready to go. So having all of your equipment in one location is the number one money saver for you. It's going to allow you to film a lot quicker. You can put more time into each one of your scenes if you don't have to move around as often. Okay, so keep that in mind. 90% of your film should take place in one location. If you think about some great films that already exist, I'm not going to name off any right now, but the truth is there's some really great films, and you'll notice they use this recipe of very minimal amount of characters and only one location, and they have some great films, so don't think it can't be done. Rule number 9, have a memorable ending. Now I know that means like, what the hell, like what does that mean? What does that mean, have a memorable ending? It basically means have an ending that has an impact. Have an ending where the audience didn't see it coming, it was shocking, it makes the audience think, it makes the film continue, whatever. It has a twist, I don't care. Just make a good ending. I can't tell you enough how many times people just kind of whatever. It's like, what did I waste 90 minutes of my life for? That sucks. That ending sucks. So you walk out of the theater or the festival or whatever thinking, that movie was just okay, whatever. You got to leave them walking out thinking it was great. They might even have forgotten the other 90 minutes if they just really liked the way it ended. So try to focus a lot on your ending. Endings are important. And rule number 10 is have another script ready to go. If you make a feature film or you make any film and you play it at a festival, the first thing people say if they like your film is, what are you working on now? It's the number one question you're gonna get asked time and time again, okay? It's happened to me several times. And if you tell them, oh, nothing, this is all I got, well, they're like, who cares? What am I doing here? And they don't care. They don't care about you. They wanna know what they can jump on next that you're working on. So always have another film ready to go, another script ready to go, something ready to go. Can't stress that enough. People write this one screenplay, think they're gonna have this big movie, and there's gonna be something great just waiting for them around the corner. In reality, they need to position themselves so when they get to that point, someone says, well, I'll give you the money for your next film. All right, that's what will happen if you made a good film to begin with. So don't just think about this film, think about this film and your next project. All right, guys, I try to bullet through this as fast as possible. Some of these are gonna be really long and some of these are gonna be really short. This one, I have no idea where it ends up being, but I did touch on everything I wanted to. Screenplays, the script, super important. A little side note, never work on a film, even if it's someone else's film, if you don't like the screenplay. The script is everything. If it sucks, you're wasting your time, they're wasting their time, whatever. It's just all a waste of time, okay? It's all about the screenplay. It's all about having a good script and then making that script come to life. You gotta have a great story. Can't emphasize that enough. All right, guys, I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. I think I'm gonna talk about funding and how to get your film made. See you guys, peace.